Have you ever wondered why, as we age, we start waking up in the middle of the night, often around 3 a.m., without even setting an alarm? It's a common experience among older adults, and while it may seem like just an annoyance, it actually has deeper connections to our health, sleep patterns, and overall well-being. Today, we're going to uncover why this happens and what it really means for your body. Throughout life's journey, we come to realize that time itself brings about great change, not just in the world around us, but within us. As the years pass, our bodies, our minds, and even the rhythms that once governed our days and nights begin to shift. One of the most profound changes we experience with age is in our sleep. Many older adults find themselves waking up in the stillness of the early morning, long before the world has stirred, wondering why rest seems to slip away. But this is not merely a frustration, it is a sign of the intricate design of the human body, a reminder that even in our sleep, there is a purpose. From the time we are young, our internal clocks, deeply woven into the fabric of our being, set the pace for our waking and resting. This biological clock, known as the circadian rhythm, controls our sleep-wake cycle, dictating when we feel energized and when we grow weary. It is influenced by the rising and setting of the sun, by our habits, and even by the changes in our bodies as we age. In the early years, sleep comes easily, deeply, as though nature itself has wrapped us in a protective embrace. But as we grow older, that rhythm begins to shift. The body produces less melatonin, the hormone that signals it is time to sleep. The signals that once kept us resting through the night become weaker, and so, we begin to wake, sometimes at the same time each night, often around 3 a.m., as though something unseen is calling us to attention. This change is not a mistake. It is not a sign of something being broken within us. It is part of the natural cycle of life, a transformation that reminds us that nothing remains the same forever. The early morning hours, once spent in unconscious rest, now become moments of wakefulness, and in that wakefulness, there is an opportunity. There is a stillness in those hours, a chance to reflect, to breathe, to acknowledge that even in disrupted sleep, there is meaning. It is a moment to embrace rather than resist, to understand that this change in rhythm is not meant to weaken us but to make us more aware of the preciousness of time itself. But as we wake in those silent hours, we also begin to notice another shift. The depth of our sleep is not what it once was. We lie down at night, seeking the same rest we once knew, but instead, our sleep is lighter, more fragile, easily disturbed by the smallest sound, the faintest discomfort, the slightest movement. What once felt like an escape into deep rest now feels like a journey through a restless sea. This is not a failure of the body, nor is it something to fear. It is another reminder that with age comes change, and with change comes a new understanding of what it means to rest. Science tells us that as we grow older, we spend less time in deep sleep, the restorative stage where the body repairs, where the mind is refreshed. Instead, we linger more in lighter sleep stages, more susceptible to waking. A noise outside, a shift in temperature, even a stray thought passing through the mind can pull us from sleep, leaving us staring at the ceiling, wondering why our nights feel so different than they once did. But even in this, there is wisdom. Light sleep means we are more aware, more in tune with our surroundings, more conscious of the passing of time. It is not a loss, but a transformation, a new way of experiencing rest that requires us to adapt, to find peace not in the length of sleep, but in its quality. Many will see these changes as burdens, frustrations to fight against, battles to win. But there is another way, a way of acceptance, of understanding, of working with the body rather than against it. Perhaps this shift in sleep, this newfound wakefulness, is an invitation. Perhaps those early morning hours, those lighter moments of rest, are not obstacles but gifts, chances to pause, to reflect, to pray, to sit in the quiet and listen. For in those moments, the world is still, the distractions of the day have not yet begun, and in that silence, there is clarity. So when the clock strikes 3 a.m. and the eyes open before the mind is ready, there is a choice to be made. Will this be a moment of frustration, or a moment of peace? Will it be met with resistance, or with acceptance? Sleep changes with age, but that does not mean it loses its value. It is not about how long we sleep, but how we embrace the rest we are given. Even in the quietest hours of the night, there is purpose. Even in the lightest moments of sleep, there is renewal. And even in the waking, there is something to be gained. The human body is a masterpiece of design, crafted with care and purpose. Every heartbeat, every breath, every moment of rest and wakefulness follows a rhythm, a pattern woven into the very fabric of life. Yet as the years pass, this rhythm begins to change. Sleep, once effortless and deep, now comes in fragments. The body stirs in the stillness of the night, the hours of uninterrupted rest grow shorter, and a pattern emerges, waking up when the world is still covered in darkness. Many wonder why this happens, why sleep is no longer as easy as it once was. But deep within these wakeful nights, the body may be trying to speak, to reveal something important, something that should not be ignored. Health is a precious gift, one that is often taken for granted until its balance is disturbed. Many do not realize that frequent nighttime awakenings can be a sign of underlying health conditions, subtle whispers from the body that something is not as it should be. Sleep apnea, a condition where breathing repeatedly stops and starts during sleep, often goes unnoticed. A restless mind may dismiss the waking as normal aging, but the body may be struggling, gasping for air without realizing it. This silent interruption not only affects sleep but the heart, the brain, and overall well-being. Then there are those who feel discomfort, an ache in the joints, a stiffness that makes it difficult to find a comfortable position. Arthritis, the wear and tear of time upon the body, can make sleep a challenge, turning peaceful rest into a cycle of tossing and turning. There are those who feel an uncontrollable urge to move their legs, a sensation that only grows stronger in the quiet hours of the night. Restless leg syndrome, though invisible to the eye, can rob a person of their ability to stay still and find peace in sleep. And then there is the bladder, that small yet persistent messenger that calls upon a person to wake, to leave the warmth of bed, disrupting rest again and again. These are not merely inconveniences, they are signals, reminders that the body is asking for attention. The temptation is to ignore them, to push through the fatigue, to accept them as part of growing older. But there is another way. Recognizing these patterns, listening to what the body is saying, seeking guidance from those who can help. These are steps toward restoring rest, toward reclaiming the deep and healing sleep that every person deserves. Yet even when the body is free of pain, when health is seemingly intact, there is another reason sleep may slip away, a restless mind, a heart weighed down by the cares of life. The world is filled with noise, with responsibilities, with worries that do not quiet themselves when night falls. The thoughts that are pushed aside during the day find their voice in the darkness, whispering fears, reminding of unfinished tasks, playing back conversations, decisions, regrets. The mind, instead of resting, begins to race. What will tomorrow bring? Will everything be all right? Did I say the right thing? Have I done enough? These questions, though silent, echo loudly in the stillness of the night, stealing peace, replacing it with wakefulness. It is no secret that stress and anxiety can affect sleep, but what is often forgotten is how deeply they are intertwined with the body's natural rhythms. When the mind is troubled, the body follows. The heart beats a little faster, the muscles tense, the breath becomes shallow, and sleep remains just out of reach. Even if sleep comes, it is light, fragile, easily broken by the slightest disturbance. This is not the way it was meant to be. The body was designed for rest, the mind for peace, but the burdens of life make these things harder to grasp. Yet there is hope. Just as the body can be cared for, so too can the mind. There is power in stillness, in taking a moment before sleep to release the worries of the day. There is strength in gratitude, in shifting focus from what is uncertain to what is good and true. There is healing in letting go, in trusting that not every problem must be solved in the midnight hours. Those who find themselves waking at 3 a.m. with a mind full of thoughts are not alone. It is a common experience, but one that can be met with a choice. Will these moments be filled with worry, or will they be embraced as an opportunity to find peace? There is something profound about the quiet hours before dawn. While the world sleeps, while the distractions of the day are momentarily hushed, there is a chance to reflect, to breathe, to find calm in the midst of the storm. Sleep will come again, but until it does, there is no need to battle against wakefulness with frustration. Instead, these moments can be a time of renewal, a time to shift perspective, a time to prepare the heart and mind for rest. And when sleep finally returns, it will be deeper, richer, more restorative, not because the night was free of waking, but because peace was found even in the stillness. The night was meant to be a time of restoration, a sacred pause from the labors of the day. But for so many, the stillness of the night is broken, not by external noise, but by the stirring of their own bodies, their own minds. Waking up at 3 a.m., staring into the darkness, feeling exhaustion yet unable to return to rest, this has become a familiar pattern for many. And though it may seem like an unwelcome disruption, there is purpose even in these restless hours. There is an opportunity not just to understand what is happening, but to take steps toward renewal, to embrace a path that leads back to the restful sleep the body was designed to have. What is put into the body affects everything. The foods eaten, the drinks consumed, the habits formed throughout the day all play a role in whether sleep comes easily or remains elusive. There are choices made that can either support rest or disrupt it, sometimes without even realizing it. A simple cup of coffee, taken too late in the day, can linger in the system far longer than expected, keeping the body alert when it should be winding down. A meal heavy with rich foods close to bedtime can stir digestion, making the body work when it should be resting. Alcohol, often thought to bring relaxation, can deceive, lulling one to sleep only to pull them awake in the middle of the night, restless, unable to return to the deep slumber they long for. But it is not only food and drink that affect sleep. The light from screens, televisions, phones, tablets, casts an artificial glow that tells the brain it is still daytime, delaying the natural release of melatonin, the very hormone that signals the body to sleep. The habit of scrolling through news, reading messages, watching videos just before bed may seem harmless, yet it trains the mind to stay awake when it should be preparing for rest. Even the temperature of the room, the comfort of the bed, the presence of noise or silence, all these small details weave together to determine whether sleep will be peaceful or broken. There is power in small changes. Choosing to step away from screens an hour before bed, to dim the lights, to read a book instead of staring at a screen, to let the mind settle before sleep, these simple actions help restore the body's natural rhythm. Eating earlier, avoiding caffeine late in the day, finding a routine that signals to the body that rest is near, these are choices that matter. The body, when given what it needs, will respond. It will remember how to rest deeply, how to remain at peace through the night. It is never too late to reclaim the gift of sleep. But there is something more, something deeper than habits and routines, something that holds the key to true rest. Beyond what is done with the body, beyond what is put into it, there is the matter of the heart, the state of the soul. So many go to bed carrying burdens they were never meant to bear alone. Worries about the future, regrets from the past, fears that whisper in the night. These are the unseen weights that keep the body restless, that stir the mind awake at 3 a.m., that steal the peace meant to come with sleep. It is not only the body that needs rest, it is the spirit. There is a reason why the early hours of the morning, when the world is silent and distractions fade away, become the moments when these thoughts grow the loudest. It is in these moments that truth rises to the surface. The things ignored during the day demand attention in the night. But these wakeful hours do not have to be filled with fear. They can be transformed into something sacred, a time of reflection, of release, of finding peace beyond circumstances. Gratitude is a powerful antidote to worry. Taking a moment before bed, not to dwell on what is uncertain, but to give thanks for what is good, to shift focus from fear to gratitude, can change the way sleep comes. Breathing deeply, letting go of the things that cannot be controlled, allowing the mind to rest in the assurance that all will be well. This is the kind of peace that invites sleep, that sustains rest through the night. And when the body does wake in the darkness, when the clock reads 3 a.m. once again, there is a choice. That moment can be filled with frustration, with restlessness, with the tossing and turning of a weary soul. Or it can be met with stillness, with prayer, with the quiet acceptance that even wakefulness can hold meaning. Sleep will come again, and when it does, it will be deeper, richer, full of renewal. Not because the night was perfect, but because peace was found in the midst of it.